Hey guys, this is Chris Stevens at Auctionbandits again. In this short video I'd like to talk about bows. You're going to see them out there and they can represent some great opportunities for you as long as you kind of have an idea of what you're looking at. Most people have no idea, unless they're into archery, anything about the various kinds of bows that are out there. The first one here is compound bow. Easiest way to tell them is because they've got these on either end. They have these pulleys. Now, I don't want to go into what these pulleys are for in this video. I think I'll probably go over it on my website, auctionbandits.com. But that's the easiest way to spot a compound bow, is the pulleys. And the ones that you run across out there, most of them are probably going to be the older design, and they're not going to be worth that much money, so you want to be really careful. The next type of bow is the longbow. The longbow, as opposed to the recurve bow next to it, see how the recurve bow has that characteristic S swoop to it? The longbow doesn't. The limbs just kind of go out and stop. They go straight. You're not going to see a lot of longbows out there, most likely. The most common bow you're going to see is the run-of-the-mill recurve. That is after the worthless compound bows. Actually on every bow, the two main components are the riser and the limbs. The limbs are the part that actually bend to flex in order to give energy to the arrow. Now it's easy to differentiate them because on a compound bow or on one of the takedown bows, they're separate entities. You have the riser and the limb. And here's an actual separate riser from its limbs. On a one-piece bow, obviously, there's not a discrete area where one starts and the other starts. Anyway, another area of compound or of recurve bow you're going to see is the takedown. Now, this right here is a bearcat takedown bow. You can take the limbs off of it by unscrewing this screw right here, and the limbs will come right off. Now, another type, and is really the reason we're here, is what they call ILF, International Limb Fitting. Instead of being bolted on like this one is, if you have an ILF bow, you can actually slide these critters into place. We should be able to. It's easier for some people to do than for me. There it is. And then you put your bow together that way. Now, ILF, International Limb Fitting, is a system developed by a guy named Earl Hoyt, who also has a Hoyt Bow Company, as a means to kind of like making a universal setup for bows. In other words, if I want to go out and buy a riser, if I like a particular riser, I can buy the riser, and then I can use this set of limbs, or let's say that I want another set of limbs that are shorter, I can plug those into my riser. Or let's say that I want something with more or less pull, in other words, a higher pull poundage, I can get a set of those limbs too and plug them right in, and they all fit perfectly. This, as you're going to see on pretty much any bow or any limb nowadays, you're going to see where it says the actual length and the pounds of pull. This one here, 70 inches is the length that this will make when it's plugged into a 25-inch riser, and it'll give you 34 pounds of pull. And the AMO up here, Archery Manufacturers Association, that's simply a standard that was set down, I believe, back in 1986, and whereby they set down 28 inches of pull where you will determine the poundage. In other words, you have to have some sort of a standard to tell how many pounds of pull this bow is, or else you could say, you know, it has 10 pounds of pull at 3 inches or 50 pounds of pull at 40 inches. So they standardized 28 inches. And if you have a 23-inch riser, a shorter riser, it'll give you a 68-inch bow, and you'll have 36 pounds of pull. Generally, the shorter the riser, as the riser gets shorter by an inch, the pounds will go up by an inch, or correction, by 1 pound per inch. Now, you should keep an eye out for these because you might end up seeing these separately from the riser. Likewise, you'll end up seeing an ILF riser, an ILF style riser, without the limbs, and both of these sell very well because they're interchangeable. This is a Yamaha detachable. It looks very similar to the Hoyt here, but it is not ILF. In other words, these Yamaha limbs go with this riser. However, they're not what they call ILF. These will only go with the Yamaha risers. So in other words, if you see a set of these Yamaha limbs out there, just because they're detachable does not mean that they're going to be universal. See, there are lots of companies out there making risers, ILF compatible risers and ILF compatible limbs, and they can sell them to anybody who has one or the other, and they know that they'll fit. If you buy a set of limbs from another company, you know that it'll fit your Hoyt Avalon riser, which is what this is, because this is ILF. Anyway, I hope I didn't confuse things too much. That's just an idea of what you're going to run across out there. This is Chris Stevens, and you can find more information at my website, auctionbandits.com. Thank you for watching.